Jono, thanks ever so much for joining us. Day before we go up against Sussex here at Lord's. It's about 1,000,000 degrees outside. Early training session today for the boys, trying to get in early, get out early before it gets too hot.
Yeah, we did it yesterday as well. Got in at 9 a.m, just trying to get out of the midday sun. So we're just finishing off now, which is great. It's certainly ramping up the heat, but you much prefer that than early season when we're wearing woolly hats and thermals. So the boys are okay about it. It's all good.
I know the ECB have been having lots of conversations with counties all week in light of the weather forecast, and have given counties an option, should they wish to shorten the day's play. I think our decision is that we're just going to crack on. Lots of consultation with the medical team, who are confident that we're well catered for, so we're going to crack on and play a full day.
Yeah, spoke to the players as well. The players are happy to just get on with normal playing hours. Most of them have been abroad and played in this sort of weather before, so happy just to keep it regulation.
Coming into this one, John, off the back of a disappointing result, obviously at Merchant Taylors against Worcester. I guess for 2 days of that game, it looked like we kind of manufactured ourselves towards a position of pushing for victory, and then, for want of a better phrase, we got pollocked.
Yeah, I think 2 games now, Derby and Worcester. We've got ourselves into a position to win the game, but we could have made that position a lot better. We're still missing little opportunities where we get good partnerships together on difficult wickets, and if we push that partnership a little bit further, we give ourselves a little bit more room for an innings that's an extraordinary type of innings. If you look at the game as a whole, coming back from 60 for 6 on the first morning on a pitch that we chose to bat because we felt the pitch would get worse as the game goes on, which we know with Merchant Taylors. But it actually did a little bit more than we thought in that first morning. But again, some poor shots sort of led to that a little bit. But to come back from that, to get 188 and then have them at 50 for 5 as well, and again maybe a little missed opportunity to really nail down our advantage at that point. So parity after first innings, and then we thought again we could have got more than the 239, but we still felt that was a score that we should win the game. And unfortunately, the first couple of overs didn't quite hit our straps, got them going, and then Pollock just played a remarkable innings, to be honest. 100 ball 60 doesn't. 60 ball 100 doesn't happen very often. No. And he just kept taking it on, and I didn't think we were particularly bad at our bowling at that point. I think he just took on everything. It's disappointing because the 2 games we have lost have been by 2 extremely amazing innings. Masood up at Chesterfield was
So John, having been so rudely interrupted by a guided tour of Lord's, we've had to decamp. We're now up in one of the media boxes, so it's a little bit echoey. Change of venue. As you were saying.
As I was saying, yeah. So the 2 games we've lost, I feel both innings have been extraordinary innings on tough wickets. So it's taken something like that to beat us both times, which is an encouraging sign. But both those games we could have nailed down our advantage and made those run chases even bigger, which would have given us a bit more opportunity. But also, we dropped, I know we talked about it before in Derby, we dropped Masood on 18 and he goes on and wins the game, and we dropped Pollock on 60 as well. And that might have made things different, still with 150 needed. So it's just little areas at the moment we're just not quite nailing home. We did that in the first 6 games. We haven't quite done that in the last 3 games, and that's something we've talked about before this game. Trying to drive home that advantage, be a bit more precise in what we're doing and doing it for longer.
Yeah, I spoke to Tim at the end of the Merchant Taylors game, and he was fairly critical actually of the seam unit, and I guess we've been so fortunate we've had such a reliable unit to depend upon in games, and they bowled us into winning positions, and it was just slightly off it, I guess. Toby's been incredible all year, 40 wickets. Tim's not been picking up wickets because perhaps they've been a little bit flatter. What's your take on that as a former nasty fasty? Did you feel we're a little bit off it? Or?
Yeah, certainly at the start of the innings, the first sort of 5-6 overs, I thought we let them into the game by giving them too many easy run scoring opportunities without them really taking any risk, and that got them going. That got Pollock going big time. So we could have been better at the start, but once he was going, I think length balls he was swivelling on and pulling length balls for six. He was slog sweeping Mertz. I mean, he was playing extraordinary shots by then, and we didn't have an answer to it. I think he took us very much by surprise. We weren't quite expecting that as a bowling unit. And obviously those guys will learn from that. But if you look at each individual bowler, I think their figures are pretty good.
Yeah.
And hopefully this game we're looking at bouncing back and that unit coming together as a four. We haven't done that for a while, as you say. All four bowlers running in and bowling at the top of their game. They've all been doing it in individual times or as pairs. So this is a game where we really want to try and nail that down.
I guess it couldn't be better timing to do so. Not drawing with Glamorgan, Derbyshire failing to beat Durham. All that's done is kind of condensed the top of the table. I think there's 35 points now separating the top five. So it's getting tighter. This game against Sussex, 6 to go. 5 to go. This, I guess, becomes not a must-win, but it's the perfect time to hit our straps and deliver that winning performance and get back to momentum. Then off to Derbyshire. To Durham, where we follow up.
I think we've spoken enough times during the summer. The winning part happens when you put a performance in, and that's what we'll be concentrating on again. We've spoken at length since the last game about the performance, about how you start being a little bit tougher with the bat, being a bit tougher with the ball, getting back to that identity stuff that we talked about in previous interviews. We've gone away from that a little bit. And sometimes when you're winning games and you're playing well, you can go away from it a little bit. So we've tried to really drill down on our basics again and trying to get back to doing what we do well. And we know if we do that, if we do it for 4 days and we do it hard, then we'll come out on the right side of the game. And as you say, 5 games to go, anything's possible. So we'll just be taking it game by game, Fletch. You'll love that. But yeah, that's what we've been speaking about.
Good to hear. No one ever said the job of a first-team coach was easy, but obviously you've got Peter Milan coming into the side this week. You've got Eski coming back into the side, obviously having hit a couple of 50s for the Lions, which we're all delighted for. Obviously you've got Yadav now available, did well at Merchant Taylors and settled in nicely. So selection headaches start to rear their head. Where are you at with that? Obviously it's a tough part of your job. You've got to let certain people down. You've only got 11 places.
It's a really tough part of the job. It's the worst part of the job. No one wants to deliver bad news to people, especially as this group are a good bunch of lads. But this is where we were at the start of the year when we played well. We had competition for places all the way through. We had overseas batter, overseas bowler. So we're back to there, and it's quite exciting to have all that and have the people who aren't in the team knocking on the door to try and get in. And it puts pressure on the guys that are in there to perform, to stay in the team. So we're back to that, and I'm happy with that. But as you say, it can be difficult. They're good guys, and no one wants to hear that they're not playing. So it is the tough part.
I guess as we come into the kind of crunch part of the season with 5 games to go, and obviously we've got the Royal London Cup coming, now is the time when you want that competition for places, because it does give you the opportunity, of course, to rotate and rest where required.
Absolutely, and especially in this sort of heat, we're playing 3 sort of back-to-back games. We literally leave for Durham the day after this game, and then practice the following day to play the day after. So they come thick and fast. The 50 overs spreads out a little bit and then suddenly condenses again. So it's a strange format, that one, where you don't play a lot and then suddenly there's almost back-to-back games. And so yes, we'll definitely need a squad. But if you're not in the team at the time, it's hard to take, and that's what you want. You want people upset. You want people demanding that they want to be in the team, and that's a healthy environment to have.
John, one last one on the opposition for this week. Sussex, I remember last year a few people saying Sussex were in a fairly similar position to us in the fact that they've got a lot of youngsters in their side and they're backing kids that are maturing and getting better and growing experience game by game. How do you see this week's opponents, and where do you see the threats lying?
I look at it exactly the same as I look at the other games. We focus on us. Yes, we'll have all the analysis stuff that Al puts together for us. All the players go through all of that individually. So they'll know who they're coming up against and how they play and how good they are. But we'll, as a team, we'll focus on what we do and try and nail down our stuff. Obviously, it'd be good to see Finney again, coming back to his home. Good to catch up with him. So we'll just be focusing on us.
Well, one game at a time. All the very best of luck this week, John. I hope it goes well, and we'll catch up after the game.
Will do. Cheers.